guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another Premier Division preview video. A full set of fixtures on Friday night, because we have another set of fixtures on Monday. Just before we start, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Just click the subscribe button below. It's completely free, but does help the channel to grow, and like the video. We'll start off, Philip. Welcome, by the way. We'll start off with Bohemians and Drogheda United at Daleyman Park, and a very interesting game this, actually, because there's only 4 points between them in the table in favour of Drogheda. When last they met at United Park, of course, Bohemians conceded a last-minute goal to draw the game. It's something they've become used to this season. But, yeah, this is a game I'd be looking forward to. It's a really interesting game. As I said, it was a draw last time out. How do you see this one going?
Look, I suppose it's going to be another tight game. I can't see it being anything other than that, to be honest with you. Bows again, conceding late on. Drogheda, look, great result last week, and I guarantee you they're going to want to try and bring it in now to this game here, another big game. To be honest with you, I fancy Drogheda. I know they've got a couple of wins over the past couple of weeks, including the break, obviously. But I just think that the way they defend and the way they try counter-attack, especially up there, is a really, really positive thing. I think something that Bows will struggle to contain, because, as we spoke about before, with their defensive frailties, they do struggle a lot at the back, Bows, this season in particular. I just think Chris Lyons as well, he's flying at the minute. Those 2 goals as well. It looks like it's going to be a Drogheda win. Now, saying that, this is the thing that we love about the league. Anyone can win on any given day. Bows could easily turn up and put 3 or 4 past them. But again, I just don't see that happening because of how well Drogheda have defended. So I'm going to go 2-1 Drogheda here, just simply off the back of the Bows defence.
Oh, yeah, also, yeah, exactly. It's hard to see Drogheda not scoring, Philip, as well, because just the way they play generally. I can't think of too many games this season where they failed to score in. Lyons 7 goals. Mark Doyle has 7 goals. They've got other players who can chip in and get goals, like Dane Massey can chip in and get goals, set pieces, and that. There's a lot of string to their bow there. I do see goals generally, because I think Bows are the same in that regard as well. They've an awful lot of players who are capable of scoring goals. Nobody that's going to get, not an individual that's going to get, a bit like Shamrock Rovers in a way last year. You know, the way they had a lot of players getting goals, but nobody was getting, say, 20 goals. I don't see that with Bows, but a lot of goal scorers in the team. The midfield battle is going to be really interesting. Be interested to see who Deegan picks up, because Tierney likes to make deep runs, but Devoy likes to get on the ball. So be interested to see how they work that out. I remember the last time when they played at United Park, I was actually there. Devoy now was outstanding in that game, to be fair. He was absolutely brilliant. He drops deep and picks out passes and things like that. It was actually a poor game, believe it or not, that last game. And it looked like Bows were going to edge it. They were under no pressure. Drogheda just got a goal in the last minute from a corner. There was no kitchen sink applied or anything like that. So that's happened to Bows a few times this season, similar to the Derry game as well. It's not as if they were put under serious pressure. So it's going to be... it's an intriguing game for sure, and like a win for Bows kind of puts them back in the European frame, because it puts them a point behind Drogheda suddenly. So it's a huge game for Bohemians, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I suppose. Look, where Bows are now, Keith. Any game this season is a massive game. You know, they can't drop any more points. Well, maybe give or take, they might get a couple of results that they can live with. But in general, like, they need to step up big time. Like, you know. I suppose we've discussed this as well previously, Keith. They kind of look like they're going to start going and firing and be the Bows of the last 2 or 3 years and kick on, and then all of a sudden it just doesn't happen, and they hit another stall and they concede a couple. Yeah, big game of the season for them, I suppose. And look, this one and then us on Monday, like, it's a massive weekend for Bows. It's a make or break, I suppose. Big. Although it's 6 points up for grabs, Bows will feel like it's probably 12, because if they don't get any results here, like, they're in big trouble for Europe.
And oddly enough, I think, say they were going to win one and lose one, hypothetically, I actually think beating Drogheda is more important than beating Shamrock Rovers for Bohemians at the moment. They might like to beat Shamrock Rovers more, but I honestly think beating Drogheda is more important to them than beating Shamrock Rovers.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, Keith, the way Drogheda have been defending, like, and I know this might sound stupid when people are listening to it, I think they have a better chance of beating Rovers actually on Monday, just off the fact of how well Drogheda defend. You know, I think the game on Monday might suit them a little bit better. You know, I just think the style of play and how Clancy sets up with Drogheda is just going to be a nightmare. Which I know that the first game you were talking about wasn't great, but just as they've gone along, they've got better and better. And I don't know about you, Keith, but so far Drogheda have been my team of the season.
Oh yeah,
I think they're going to give another really good account of themselves now this weekend.
Yeah, I think Bows can't afford to lose this. It'd be massive if Drogheda could get the win. I'll go for a draw, to be honest. It'd be tight, but there could be goals in it, maybe 2-2 or something like that. On to Dundalk and Longford Town at Oriel Park. And, you know, Dundalk, obviously a bad defeat last summer. I just can't get over the type of goals they're conceding. Like, it's just, I don't know. Longford, we know, I've run out of almost time for Dundalk at the moment, you know. And there was more crap this week as well. Have you seen the managerial talk? I mean, Jesus Christ, 1 minute, like, what is going on there?
I think Lewis Shaw said he got a phone call as well, so you never know. To be honest with you, the way it's going,
you wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I could end up in charge up there, to be honest with you, the way it's going at the minute. It's just a disaster, and there's no professionalism.
Like, I don't know, like, Dave Rogers seems to think, like, 1 second Dave Rogers was getting the job out of nowhere. And then James Rogers, who's a very reliable actual Dundalk journalist, said that Jim Magilton, I'm getting confused now because it's just such a mess, that Vinnie Perth was going to come back. And he said his opinion would have changed from lunchtime. And I kind of looking at it, and they were left in the last few days of nothing. Like, what is going on at the club? Like, it's an absolute, like, it gets worse and worse and worse and more laughable as it goes along. Yeah. Like, regarding the match, though, you could do a video on Dundalk, to be fair. Regarding the match, I mean, Longford are bottom of the table. They're 10 points off Dundalk. But Jesus, I tell you, if Longford are going to get a win soon, it's in this match. Really, like, I mean, if Dundalk play the way they have been, Longford are well capable of beating them here.
Yeah, big time, Keith. And I think, again, we spoke about Drogheda being a bit of a challenge for Dundalk. For Bows, rather, sorry. I think it's going to be the same here with Longford, you know, for Dundalk. I think they're going to give them a really good game. I just think the way they set up is really, really good. It's, again, we've kind of discussed Longford already this year in terms of how they just don't tend to have enough. But I think they're coming up against the Dundalk side now that are really, really just, I think the cards are down, everyone's finished, and it's just a nightmare, to be honest. Dundalk, again, look, we've seen it. They go and beat Pats, they get result against Rovers. Like, they're well capable of doing it, but I just think these types of games are where they really struggle, you know. It's like they just don't want to get up for it, like, you know. And I think Longford will challenge them when it comes to that, because I think they kind of step up when it's a big game as well, when there's a big team. Rovers is like they've done it for Rovers. They held us to a draw till the last kick of the game. Like, and I just think Dundalk might slip up here again. Everything about them it's just stinking, to be honest, Keith. As you said, we can do a whole video on them, and I kind of think they're taking a bit of the headline here as well in this fixture, just off how bad they've been. But look, again, Longford do need to go and put in a performance. Let's not get that wrong. If they don't turn up, they could easily be steamrolled. There's no doubt about it. But again, there's just so many questions about it. If I was to call a result, I'm gonna go 1-0 Longford, and it's just off how poor they Dundalk have been.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, if Dundalk continue to defend the way they have been the last few weeks, I mean, Longford can definitely get a goal or two against them as well. And one thing we know for sure is that we know the effort that Longford are going to put into the game. We don't from Dundalk. Even against Pats, funnily enough, in that win for Dundalk, there's an element of luck in it a little bit as well, because Pats actually dominated the play, and Dundalk kind of should be more than good enough to have a lot of the ball against Pats, even if I'm honest with you. But Longford, I find it difficult to call, because when I say Dundalk lose, you usually don't lose. But look, I'll go for a draw, but like, it's an absolute shambles at Dundalk at the moment, and they're probably fortunate they're 8 points clear of Waterford actually in the league, because I tell you, if Longford were to win this, and even Waterford were to get a win somehow in their game, it is against Shamrock Rovers, but even so, Dundalk could be dragged into it if they don't cop themselves on. But I don't know. They're definitely out of Europe, by the way. 2 weeks ago, I said with Dundalk, I don't rule them out yet because of the quality they have, but no. After that Waterford result, forget about it. Moving on to Waterford. Waterford take on Shamrock Rovers to the RSC, and Waterford did pick up a great win against Dundalk from their point of view, to be fair, and they should take confidence going into this game. Shamrock Rovers are top of the league, but at this minute in time, you would have said this time, if it was last season, Shamrock Rovers are dead certs to win this game. You're not too sure now, though, are you? Even though they're top.
No, I think it's the worst possible time to play Waterford, in my opinion, Keith. This in a whole season, I think this is the worst time because they've had a smashing result, and I think the vibe about the place looks a lot different compared to what it was, say, a month ago. Just watching Bertram afterwards, the post-match interview he gave, he just looked full of energy, and I've not seen that from any manager from Longford for a long time. We're going back to Reynolds, the last time I seen someone so optimistic about it, and it was actually very refreshing, and I really, really was delighted to see it because, again, it's a club that belongs in the league, in my opinion. I've said this many times, I'll say it again. And I think this is the worst possible time for Rovers to meet them. Look, I've said it as well the other day, Keith. Rovers have this little phase in most seasons that I've watched them anyways, that they kind of go 3 or 4 games and you're kind of questioning, saying, geez, is this team capable? And they come back and they answer the critics, I just think maybe we might have enough, Waterford are doing well and over the past couple of weeks, but I just think we've got that little bit of extra quality, and I know that draw against Harps during the week was probably one that I think Bradley will be able to get a reaction out of, because I can guarantee you there's people out there that are questioning Rovers now, saying, are they going to be good enough? As we've seen, those Sligo drop points and no one else really looks close. Pats probably as well, but they are uncertain as well in terms of how they've gone about their season so far. We thought they were going to challenge, but it doesn't look like it. If I suppose there's the call a result, Keith, again, it could go either way, but I'm just going to say we'll have enough and win 1-0. I just think defensively we'll be strong enough to keep a clean sheet in this game, and I think the experience will just get us through.
Dylan Watts back?
I'm not sure, actually. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he is pretty close, though. I know he is close to coming back.
Even if he's on the bench or something like that,
that's just a step that they need. Him coming back is something that will motivate players around him, I think, because he's nearly a dead certain start when he gets himself back to full fitness.
Oh, he's actually playing really well this season. He gives him an option as well, shooting from outside the box and that kind of thing. I think Shamrock Rovers will nick this as well. I'd probably go for 1-0 here. I think even though Waterford got the 3 goals against Dundalk, they've struggled for goals this season, and a lot of the goals were sloppy from the defensive point of view. I can't see Shamrock Rovers defending like that, so I can't see anyone defending like that. But I think...
Do you want to know something? I'll tell you this. I don't know if you've checked this out before. We've had 3 results that we have both been agreed on, and they've all came in. So get your money on it, folks. 1-0 Rovers.
Interesting. That's interesting. We'll stick with that anyway. 1-0 Shamrock Rovers 1. Dead cert. We'll move on. I suppose the 2 biggest games of the weekend, arguably. I know Balls and Drogheda is a huge game as well, but you'd have to say St. Pat's and Sligo is a huge game in the circumstances, because Pats are third in the table, 3 points behind Sligo. Sligo lost last week, surprisingly. Gary Buckley's still out, by the way. He's missing for a few games, incidentally. So that could be a big loss for them if Pats could test them there. Pats, I think, are okay in terms of fitness at this minute in time. Fans in as well for the first time at Richmond Park. It's a big game, isn't it, this one, Pats and Sligo?
Yeah, it's a massive game, Keith. I think it's probably the biggest game of the season for the title race, I know that might have been questionable if compared to a few weeks back when Rovers dropped points, but I just think if either team slips up here and Rovers win, especially if Pats get a result, I suppose Rovers can get a little gap again. And I suppose I know it was a bit bigger previously, but I think if we get through this little phase and start getting results on the board, I don't think anyone will live us. But as for this game, again, big misses for Sligo. The fact that they've seen it last week, that it does affect them, and I think it's going to happen again here, especially with fans coming back into Richmond Park. I can only look at a Pats win as long as they turn up. There's been a couple of times this season where I've looked at Pats and they just haven't been quite at it compared to what they were at the start of the season.
Although these type of games, they do tend to turn up in, I have to say, like Sligo and Shamrock Rovers and those type of games, Bohemians, obviously.
They're competitive. That's what they need to be, you know. And I just think the fact there's fans coming back into Richmond, I know Galway were the only home team that won last week when we had fans first returning, but like Pats again, I just think with a couple of hundred, I don't know, I'm not sure what they're going to have it in there, but I think it's going to be, there's going to be a good atmosphere there, even though there'll probably only be a couple of hundred. I think
tight pitch though. It's a tight pitch, Richmond Park, isn't it? They really get on top of you, so.
Yeah, and I just can't look past them, Keith. I don't know about you. I know you're probably not as optimistic as me because you're a Pats fan, but I just think Pats are going to have too much here. I'm actually going to go Pats 3-1.
I'm going to go 5-0 Pats. Go to the bookies for that one. No, yeah. I think it raises a lot of questions about Sligo here, Philip, in many ways before I maybe talk about Pats a little bit, because if Sligo were to lose this, having lost last week, then the questions come with Sligo, because obviously Pats would be level with them and Sligo would, after losing 2 in the bounce, people saying without Buckley, this kind of thing, this kind of chatter will come into play, and maybe rightfully so. But if they could go to Richmond Park after losing last week and win, then that's a real statement, like, I think. The midfield's going to be very interesting in this game. We've got Moorhan and Bulger against Forrester and Benson as an example. Like, you know, it's going to be really interesting. Buckley and O'Donnell like to play through the middle, generally like 3 midfielders, you know. Sometimes Pats play 3 at the back, sometimes 4-3-3. But that's going to be the interesting part for me. Pats did look better against Longford than they had in the previous weeks leading up to the break. Still made an error at the back, but did look better, a bit sharper. I thought they were losing a bit of sharpness coming up to the break. It's a hard one to call, I have to say. It really is a hard one to call. So I think I'll jump on the fence here and go for a 1-1 draw. I'm not sure who'd be the happier with that, actually. I think Sligo wouldn't be too disappointed with that. Even if Shamrock Rovers are to win, the worst that can happen is Shamrock Rovers go 3 points clear. And Rovers will be thinking, okay, we got to draw at Inchicore if they're losing the home last week. Could be worse. But every game, as you know, the merits are different. Like, you know what I mean? You could score in the last minute, concede in the last minute, and the complexion changes. So it all depends. But I'd be surprised, actually, if someone got 2 goals in this match for some reason. I just think it'll be tight, it'll be tense. Pats generally have a good record against Sligo in the last couple of years. Haven't lost actually in about 4 or 5 games or something like that anyway. But I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence here, Philip. I'm going for a draw anyway. I'm trying to look at it through my head rather than anything else. But that's the way I see it anyway. Now, finally, Philip, the game. The Derby game, Finn Harps and Derry City Northwest Derby, is a huge game in itself and in its own right. And probably technically it's the biggest game of the weekend, but obviously with Pats and Sligo being second and third, it's a little different. However, a point between them in the table. Harps are just a point above Derry, and Derry have been slowly kind of trying to reel them in the last few weeks. And this is an opportunity now for Derry to get revenge, having been beaten at the Brandywell by Finn Harps for the first time in God knows how long. Again, another interesting game, this one. How do you see this one going? I'd be trying to think of how I see it going as I'm talking as well. That's why I pass it on.
Yeah, of course. Look, JP won't be happy with me, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go Finn Harps here again. I've literally kissed Finn Harps' toes this year in terms of how well they've been, and you know, I just can't look by them because Derry have been brilliant in the past month or so, 2 months, and they've really, really turned their season around. But I just, Finn Harps, they're everything you want in a football team, in my opinion, for what they have. Again, budget, what they're able to go for, and what they've done are night and day difference. They've just been fantastic. And look, I won't ramble on too long because everyone knows how good they've been. But I just think that result against Rovers during the week just summed them up perfectly. You know, going to the champions, who maybe a year or 2 ago might put 3 or 4 past them, you know, easily. And really, really done well and performed in the game. And I thought they were very, very deserving of the point, as I discussed previously. But I just think that they've got a bit of momentum behind them. You know, I know kind of before that there was kind of a couple of mixed results, but I think overall they'd be happy with where they are. So I'm gonna go for Harps 1-0 here.
Yeah, just looking at the table there while you're talking there, both teams are kind of stuck in no man's land at the moment because Harps are they're 6 points behind Drogheda, but they're 9 points behind Pats, who are third. But then they're well ahead of relegation. Obviously, Derry are only a point behind Finn Harps. So at this minute in time, it's very much a bragging rights style game, isn't it?
Yeah, you're all right. Sorry. Yeah, it is. Look at Derby. It's a big Derby. Can you cut that out?
I'll leave it in. Does she have an opinion?
Yes. Look, I suppose I'll start that again. Yeah, look, biggest derby in years, I suppose, up there, and it probably is going to be a very tight game, you know. And bragging rights are a massive thing, like, you know, in any derby. But I suppose with it being so close in the past couple of years, it hasn't been, and Derry have been usually a mile ahead of Finn Harps. So I just think that it's just going to be really, really tense. It's going to be a great game, actually. I'm not going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it back, just off the fact that I think it's going to be so tight and cagey. And sure, look, either team, as I said, either team can win it, but I'm just going to edge towards Harps.
Yeah, I'm thinking the exact same, but I'm edging towards Derry. That's the way I'm going. I'm edging towards Derry. I think they'll get revenge in this one and actually overtake Harps in the table, which a few weeks ago you wouldn't have thought so, I suppose. Look, guys, we'll leave it there. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks again, Philip. Cheers.
Cheers, Keith.